This is Tony Anderson for It's Only Entertainment, and I have a special guest. He is the director and executive producer of Tale of the Tape. We're going to talk all about the mixtape, but before we do, we got to talk about the biggest storyline in rap right now. We got Kendrick Lamar, we got Drake, and kind of J. Cole. He apologized and got out of it. But we really wouldn't have been introduced probably to Kendrick Lamar and Drake without mixtapes. So Malik, as an expert on it and somebody who's done research on it, talk to me about how the mixtape game helped introduce Kendrick Lamar and Drake and J. Cole to us.
I mean, man, right? I think that look, you have 50 Cent and you have Dipset that really took it from the DJ and made it more about the artist. Joe Budden, of course, says in the doc, he says, I did it first. That's a Joe Budden thing, right? That's what Joe does. But yeah, those guys, Kendrick doing Section 80, J. Cole doing Friday Night Lights, Drake doing his first mixtape, which I think all of those are really classic albums. They didn't have the infrastructure at that point. They didn't have label deals yet and whatnot, but they put their heart and soul into those mixtapes. To me, mirror a Ready to Die. They mirror a Life After Death or Illmatic and whatnot. So without those mixtapes, we don't have those artists. I don't think they become top guys in the business without them. And they just literally followed the blueprint that Dipset and 50 did.
Mm. Okay, so now let's talk about that. You got Joe on there. A lot of people claim that they were the ones who made the mixtape. Who was the first person to actually put out the mixtape?
Artist or DJ?
Oh, both.
Right. So it's kind of like, look, the story of hip hop, right? People will say it started in the Bronx and Cedric and Cedar, but you do have other people that said, no, there was this party in Queens or there was this party in Brooklyn, So, unless you were really, really there, we're gonna go with we're gonna go with what history tells us right now. So Brucey B got his mixtape game from Lovebug and Starsky, right? Those were the first guys to do a mixtape. Brucey B became really, really popular because he was at the Rooftop, which was the club to go to. He would record his mixes and then he would sell that mix the next week, right? And he was just connected. That's just what it is. Now, in regards to artists, I mean, Joe Budden would mood music. Yeah, I got to check those dates. Seriously, I got to check those dates. But I want to say it's between Cameron and 50 Cent.
Mm.
But 50 Cent mixtape. They had the biggest response. Those mixtapes were on Billboard, right? The other stuff was on the time I like distributed through Landspeed or through Koch, which is kind of like underground, underground platforms, distribution companies. But 50's joint, man. Let me tell you, I remember going to a mixtape distributor in a U-Haul rental spot. And he go in there, a bunch of African dudes in there in Harlem, and they just opened the locker, tons of mixtapes in it. He couldn't, 50 Cent was the one that just kept selling out. You have all these other DJs, and don't get me wrong, they're dope, but you couldn't keep 50 Cent's joint on the shelf. And so to me, I gotta go with 50.
Word. So now let's talk about Tale of the Tape. For those who don't know, you have a lot of other projects going. What made you say, I want to be involved in this project? And talk to me about some of the other people like Kim Osorio and DJ Envy who are involved with this project.
So first of all, hip hop has been it's been my North Star. No matter what's going on in my life, hip hop has shown me the way. As a kid growing up in Brooklyn, mixtapes were always it, right? I remember being in junior high school with my friends and Kid Capri was the dude. And, we wanted his mixtape. So Kid Capri is from the Bronx. He sells his mixtapes in Harlem. I'm 12, 13 years old in Brooklyn. It's an hour train ride, and the tape is $20. I don't have either. Me and my friends put together, we put together like five of us put $4 together to get $20, and then basically rock, paper, scissors to say who's going to jump on that train ride. I have to be home at a certain time because my mother get home. I just can't be gone, right? One of us has to like, and you don't really know because none of us had been up there to Harlem to, oh, you go to this street and it's there, right? Thank God Stanley had to go and not me. But and he came back. We listened to that tape together every day after school. We all dubbed it and made our own copies. And again, I had always been in love with hip hop. It's funny because at that school, Tyler Quelly was a classmate of mine. And that's when he started rapping. So I feel like it just made sense that it was when it was time for me to tell a story after doing all of these interviews and traveling with artists for BT and MTV, whether it's artists, DJs, everybody linked back to a mixtape. Nicki Minaj blew up off a mixtape. Some of Lil Wayne's best work is from a mixtape. I was got to be really good friends with DJ Drama because he would come on Rap City a lot when I was producing. And he has so many stories, and it was beautiful to see his success go up a notch every time he came to the show. Literally, he might come every other month, but it seems like he's a bigger DJ and artist. I said, I got to tell this story. And it started many, many years ago. Kim became part of it because, we had worked together. I have a great relationship working with Kim. She's one of the most respected, producers for television and journalists. And she knows her hip hop. Like she can DJ. She owned turntables as a kid, and DJ Envy. It's funny because I met DJ Envy years prior when I went to Morgan State. He was at Hampton. I had a store called The Source, like the magazine, except it was DA Source. So we didn't get sued. I don't know why we thought that. But we carried mixtapes in there and we sold Envy's mixtapes. His mixtapes were different than everybody because they were shrink wrapped, and then him and Clue started doing CDs. And again, shrink wrapped with barcodes so they can keep track of their stuff. Everybody else's was just kind of like, cheap copies from Kinko's and whatnot. So to go full circle, a few years ago, me and Kim reach out to Envy like, look, we have this project. We would love for you to be a part of it. Can you do an interview? He read the outline. He was part of, the post process. He gave his, expertise and his input, and it just made sense that we were able to join forces and combine.
Now, within you doing this project, what is the thing that you found the most surprising?
I would probably say it was really the legalities as to why DJ Drama was arrested. It felt like they just made something up to like cover themselves. I think you had departments at the labels that weren't talking. So you have the PR department where that's like, look, Drama's our guy. He's blowing up these artists. You blow up these artists, what do? You make a ton of money for the labels, right? But then you have whatever legal department like, oh, well, we see these songs over here and I don't think we're monetizing, but that wasn't the play. This was all a PR thing. Drama wasn't making a ton of money off of these things. He was actually doing parties, doing shows and different things. But I think that's like one of the things that stuck out to me that, in hip hop, it's like no matter what, when we try to do something or put our best foot forward, there's always, the man lurking to like, get in the way of certain things.
Interesting, man. So Schoolboy Q, he said something. He said rappers today are now basically just content creators. Do you feel like content creation, streaming, etc., has killed the need for mixtapes?
I feel that they are content creators, good ones. Not everybody can be good. Not everybody can do what you do. Not everybody can do what I do. I do think that they have put a dent in it. I do think that DJs are very much needed. I think, their playlists that they put on Spotify and they put on Tidal and things like that, or their mix shows that they do on whatever radio station that they're on. I think those serve as the mixtapes now. But I do appreciate that a lot of these artists, You know, they have their own platforms to release their stuff and kind of do their own versions of mixtapes. It would be like, I love Kendrick's album that he used Kid Capri on. It was a throwback. Kid Capri, and you know, he's just shouting it out. He's just shouting them out. He's shouting out different songs. You know, that's what makes Kendrick so special, because he understands how to tie in history to the present.
Mm. Speaking of tying in history to the present, right? When you have this is basically something that I got a chance to see, the trailer narrated by Big Tigger. It's something that people can actually see that's entertaining yet educational. For you, what is the biggest takeaway that you want people to have when watching this documentary, Tale of the Tape?
Right. So two things. Yes, the trailer is narrated by Big Tigger. The film is narrated by Royce da 5'9".
Mm.
To me, Royce is one of the most respected voices in hip hop. You know, whether you like mainstream, whether you like underground, you like Royce. Like, he's dope. He's just that talented. And it was important to get somebody that people would take serious. And, you know, we have a relationship with him, myself, Kim, and Envy. I want people to take away that from this film when they watch it. I want them to understand how much DJs really, like, it's a fraternity with the men and women. They genuinely care, honor, and respect one another. They all took a piece of what the one prior did to help elevate and revolutionize not just mixtapes, but also hip hop. You know what I mean? If you look at what Brucey B was doing, and then you fast forward to cloning him, and then you fast forward to DJ Who Kid, you're like, wow. And it's not even that long of a time. You know what I mean? It was like, but it is like going from a 13-inch black and white television to, you know, 160-inch projector screen when it comes to, like, you know, the things they did differently.
Indeed, the Hashitashi 2000. Malik Bowie, we appreciate you. Where can we find this documentary? Because I need to see the whole thing in its entirety. Where can they catch this doc?
First of all, I'm gonna make sure you get a private screening ASAP. Right. Second of all, you can see it. It's on Amazon Prime. Put in Tale of the Tape, you'll find it. It's on Spectrum. It's on Verizon. If you go to taleofthetapefilm.com, that's the website. All those links are there. Give you some, you know, behind the scenes stuff. If you go to Tale of the Tape Film or Red Summer TV, there's a lot of behind the scene clips there that we post. We have Brucey B. We have, you know, Clark Kent. You know, we got drama. You know, we got everybody. Some stuff that, you know, didn't make the film that's on the cut room floor, but it needs to be out there. So those are the places you can go to. But absolutely, Amazon Prime.
We appreciate you, Malik. We're going to support you because it's a phenomenal doc and because you're an HBCU grad. Appreciate you,
There
man.
you go. Love you, brother. The national treasure, Morgan State.
You already know. Shout out to the Hornets, baby. You should have been a Hornets. Hornets.